What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. So look, this video is gonna be a little different today. This is a message for whoever needs to hear it for real, and it's about stepping out on faith, man. Like I've been a spirit, like I've been a person who's been a God-fearing man, a spiritual person for much of my life. I really feel like I really started praying for real without my mom's guiding hand when I got to high school. Like I told y'all, being in Chicago, traveling on public transportation to and from school, going through all different type of neighborhoods, all different type of wild areas, just praying, God, look, keep me safe. Keep me safe to and from on my travel to and from school. Let me get back home the same way I left this house, right? And so after that, I started to become praying a lot, prayed all throughout college, grad school, and all of those things, right? But as I got older and I got settled and I got into an employment situation that was very good for me, and my children, my family, all of that, I started to stop praying like I should have, right? And like a lot of people do, I stopped praying like I should have. And then when I get into binds, I started praying again. When I get into binds or I face challenges that are overwhelming or scary, etc. And I should have been praying the whole way. But anyway, right? My point is um, keeping your faith, right? But sometimes we get put into situations that are uncomfortable for us, and I overthink a lot of things. I overthink a lot of stuff. I worry a lot, and my mom used to always tell me, Malcolm, if you gonna pray, stop worrying like that, But that I would worry a lot, and so yeah. Sometimes in certain situations when we get nervous and all that, we got to step out on faith. Step out on faith. Now put in the work, because faith without works ain't nothing gonna happen without putting in the work too. But put in the work and step out on faith. And sometimes your life can change for the better. Things can go in ways you never could imagine if you try, if you give it a shot, right? And this applies to a lot of things in life, but I told y'all, and I keep rehashing the story, but y'all, like I promise y'all don't know how afraid I was when I lost my job for real. You know what I'm saying? Like I kept a cool face, I kept a poker face, I kept a good mindset. But y'all, when because I got laid off, you know what I'm saying, months ago, I got laid off. What was that? The very end of June, right? I got laid off from work, and it was a mass layoff for everybody. Like not everybody, a ton of us got laid off crazily and out of nowhere. And so when that happened, y'all, I was nervous because, man, listen, them unemployment checks that I get, they don't cover half of the bills that I got for real. You know what I mean? As far as like my daughter in private school, you know what I'm saying? My son, he has an autism diagnosis. He's in therapies and all of that. Like, listen, you hear me? And then having to make sure, like, listen, having to make sure they got food they need, all of that, on top of just paying bills and rent, bills here, there. What? You know what I mean? So it was a nervous feeling for me. And so that's when I started to really put my all into the channel, because truthfully, this is what I always wanted to do anyway, and I had more time to devote to it. But I'm gonna be for real with y'all. I needed I needed that YouTube revenue to help with things. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know how much I could even make at all, because my channel not big like these other channels, and I don't do reaction content that drives in a whole bunch of revenue. Not that I'm against reaction content at all. I just don't know how to get around the copyright restrictions that come with a lot of watching them shows and listening to music, etc. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, man, started applying for jobs a lot, wasn't hearing nothing back. I mean, brushed up my resume, made some cover letters for certain jobs, and you like, dang, what's going on? Something got to give. But I remember, I told you, my son's mother, she told me like, well, Malcolm, you always wanted to do your YouTube thing. That was something that's a passion of yours. So put your all into it right now during the time where, you have the downtime to do so. Because the job I worked, I was so overwhelmed, bro. I'm talking about my mind would be spinning because I was thinking all day. It was analytical based. So I was always thinking all the way around the clock, thinking. I've been trying to, do all type of analysis on all different involving math, involving just thinking about regulations, procedures, all of that, right? And so, and at the same time, while I'm doing that, I'm trying to make sure, you know, my son eating and all of that type of stuff too. So she like, yo, you got enough time to kind of to devote to the channel, do what you have to do, to try to like just give your all to the channel and see if you find something else. And so uh you like, man, I don't know if this is gonna work for real. I don't know if my channel gonna get any bigger if I just really devote my time to it. You know, I don't know if it'll stay stagnant. I don't know. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to get this thing to as big as I can until it can be. I'm gonna stay as consistent as possible, making content every day, trying to go live every other day and see what happens. And after a while, after like a month and about a month or two, my channel started to grow exponentially, right? And I started to see, like, again, I'm at 13,000 subscribers, y'all. Like, I think when I got laid off, I probably was at like maybe 8,000, like 8,000 or so when I got laid off, maybe like like 8K. And so for me, to other people, that might not be a lot, but for me, it's a lot, especially because I don't do reaction content and stuff like that too. So I built my following organically. And I rarely share my stuff on like my Facebook and Twitter, because I remember when I first did it, I felt like only my family, close immediate family, was subscribing. Everybody else was just like seeing me post stuff and wasn't really supporting. So I was just like, man, I'm not finna I'm not finna beg people to support. I'm just gonna keep on doing what I gotta do, right? And so I took a step. And so when I got laid off, it was like I had to make something shake. And I didn't know if it would work or not, but you know, the YouTube revenue kept me able to cover certain things that I needed for my children. You know what I'm saying? I don't make a whole lot of money on YouTube at all. Nowhere near these other content creators at all, because I'm not getting 20,000 views a video or even 15,000 a video. I get 8,000 or 10,000 every 7 videos if I'm lucky, right? And every so often, even then, I'm still getting like 1,000 views on my best day, or 2,000 on my best day on a video, right? But even every little thing helped me. And so I was just like, I'm put my all into it. We're gonna see what happens. But then even I'm gonna take y'all outside of this situation. When I got laid off here, I remember when I first got out of grad school, I graduated in May 2017. I got my master's degree in mass communication. So then I came back to Chicago because I was at Arkansas State University for grad school. I went straight to grad school from undergrad. I graduated from Mississippi Valley State University, HBCU in the SWAC, in Itta-Bena, Mississippi, Mississippi Delta. Then I went to Arkansas State University in Jonesboro, Arkansas, so which is a PWI. Got my degree, came back home. Was applying for jobs. Eventually I got a job, a nice job, right? And so, but when I got the job, it was a temporary position, right? Temporary. It was only for like a certain amount of months. But then after a while, it was extending me just on other projects. It wasn't permanent. It just kept extending me on projects because I was doing great work. I was getting good feedback and all of that. So again, I'm living with my mom. I got a girlfriend at the time. She's working her job, and her stuff is permanent. And she say, you know, well, we wanted to move because I wanted to get out of my mom's house. You know what I mean? So she like, we want to move in together. And so at the time, I didn't know, they're talking about my son's mom. At the time, I didn't know, I was a little fearful of getting into a lease because my job was not a permanent situation. It was temporary. They just kept extending me on little projects here and there, but I thought at some point them extensions gonna run out. So I was nervous. I'm like, man, what if we get into a lease and I don't have, like, they just stop extending me and then I gotta find employment and I'm in a crazy situation because now I didn't got into this lease and I can't hold up my end of the bargain and I don't want stuff falling heavy on you. So she like, listen, you just keep working that job, keep doing what you gotta do. You keep being the best employee you could be, and they'll recognize they need you on that job. They need you on their team. And so we went and got an apartment together, signed the lease, and I still was on a temporary job. Now, lo and behold, I kept going to, being there, being on time, not just being on time, but killing it at work, killing it at work. And then they made me a permanent member of the team. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? But it was my son's mother telling me, listen, we gonna be all right. You know what I mean? You work hard, you a hard worker. They gonna recognize your value. Everything gonna be okay. You know what I mean? We gonna do this, we could do this, and you gonna be covered. God got us, and God had us covered. Now, then let me tell you, I remember this vividly. I got laid off. COVID time happened. I got laid off March of 2020 because they only were able to keep certain positions at the job. They laid a lot of us off that was in like lower position type things. So got laid off. And I got laid off around the same time I found out that I had a son on the way. So now I'm like, yo, all right. Now I got unemployment. You know that COVID unemployment was hefty. So it was like I was getting the same amount of money I was if I was working. So that was cool, but I know at some point this unemployment gonna end. So now I'm like, I gotta find a job. I gotta get a job. So I reach out to my former boss and I asked her, are there any positions available? She say, not currently, but if any positions open up, I will let you know. So I'm like, man, I didn't even want to hit them up because I felt like they was going to tell me, hey, we don't have nothing, we let you guys go, we don't have nothing open or whatever. I didn't know how she was going to respond to me, but I'm like, let me take a leap out on faith and see what she'll say if I just reach out via email, via my personal email. So she was like, it was all a receptive response, all good. So I remember this. So I remember, I want to say in like August, she contacted me. She said, hey, Malcolm, we got a position open and available. You should apply if you're still interested. So of course I'm interested. I got a baby on the way, and I already had my daughter already. You know what I'm saying? My daughter she's grown. My daughter 9. She's 9 years old at the time. So I'm still I gotta make sure I'm not just for my son, but for her too. I gotta make sure I'm covering both things, right? And so yeah. So anyway, I apply for the job. I get the interview for the job. I get on the interview. It's like 7 people in there interviewing me. 7 people. And I didn't think it was going to be this crazy, but it was. And they throwing everything at me. And I'm responding. So the same day of the baby shower for my son, I'm going to the mall to go get me a little bow tie, little dress shirt on so I can look nice and presentable. On the way to the mall with my daughter, I get a call from my former boss. She say, hey, you got the job. I say, oh my God. Like I said, God looks out at the times you need him most. And I'm telling y'all, on the way there, I could have jumped out the car because I was just so happy. Like, man, okay, cool. Now I got me some good firm employment back to where my son come. I can get him everything he needs, because I was already getting that with the unemployment from COVID, but I knew it was going to come to an end at some point. But now, cool, when he get here, he's straight. He good. I can cover all the stuff I need to cover. But again, I had to step out on faith and I had to go to my former boss and ask her, hey, if anything comes available, please let me know. Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure this out for real, because I know this unemployment going to end in a minute, and it worked out. But I stepped out on faith, asked, put my best foot forward, and I got that permanent position back. Now, eventually, I got laid off, but it's the same situation now. I keep putting my best foot forward in everything I'm doing, and things will pay off. I pray.